Hello and welcome to Byju's IAS. Let's take up the daily quiz for today. The first question: which of the following statements are correct? Rani Lakshmi Bai was one of the leading figures in the Quit India movement. During her period, Jhansi was a Maratha princely state. The British policy of doctrine of lapse led her to revolt against the colonial empire. See, amongst the given statements, the first statement is incorrect. So that makes option C the right answer. Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi was one of the leading figures in the First War of Indian Independence of 1857. When the Sepoy Mutiny or the Indian Rebellion broke out in 1857, Jhansi was one of the rebellion centers, which was led by Rani Lakshmi Bai. So this makes the first statement incorrect. During this period, Jhansi was a Maratha princely state ruled by Maharaja Gangadhar Rao, the husband of Rani Lakshmi Bai. Following his death, the then Governor General of the British East India Company, Lord Dalhousie, enforced the doctrine of lapse on the princely state of Jhansi. Under the doctrine of lapse, the British East India Company would annex those princely states if the ruler died without a male successor or if the ruler was declared to be incompetent by the East India Company. In the case of Jhansi, following the death of Maharaja Gangadhar Rao, his adopted son was supposed to take the throne, but under the doctrine of lapse, Lord Dalhousie rejected the adopted son's claim to the throne. Following this, the colonial empire annexed the state, which eventually led Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai to rebel against the colonial empire when the 1857 rebellion broke out. During this rebellion, Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai is said to have fought bravely against the British, along with the support of key figures such as Nana Sahib and Tantia Tope, and she eventually sacrificed her life in the fight against the British rule. This question was taken up because the 19th of November, being the birth anniversary of Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has paid tribute to her bravery, which has been reported in this press release from the Prime Minister's office. Now let's look at the second question. Which of the following statements are incorrect? India has become the third largest domestic aviation market in the world and handles the largest domestic air traffic after the United States and China. The Ministry of Civil Aviation launched the UDAN scheme in 2016 to improve India's international air connectivity with focus on US and European markets. Amongst the given statements, the second statement is incorrect. So the correct answer is option B, 2 only, because the question is asking you to identify the incorrect statement. See, the second statement is incorrect because the UDAN scheme, which was launched in 2016 by the Ministry of Civil Aviation, is a regional connectivity scheme. UDAN stands for Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, and its objective is to develop the domestic regional aviation market and not to improve India's international air connectivity. The scheme aims to provide affordable and economically viable and profitable air travel on regional routes by providing connectivity to unserved and underserved airports of the country. So this clearly makes the second statement incorrect. So option B is the right answer. This question was taken up because according to this press release from the Ministry of Civil Aviation, the Civil Aviation Minister has inaugurated the Wings India 2022 event, which brings together the key stakeholders of the global aviation market, international regulators, state governments, and business associations in order to facilitate direct interaction with various airlines and airport operators with the objective of boosting air connectivity in the country. While inaugurating this event, the Civil Aviation Minister has noted that today India has become the world's third largest domestic market for air traffic after the US and China. He has also highlighted the successful initiatives that have been taken up under the UDAN scheme. Now let's look at the third question. Which of the following statements are correct? India's MSME sector plays a very significant role in terms of job creation, expanding manufacturing base, and boosting Indian exports. The sector contributes over 11 crore jobs with over 30% contribution to the GDP and over 49% to overall exports from India. Both the given statements are correct, so option C is the right answer. See, generally, UPSC stays away from asking such highly factual questions. But if you look at previous papers, we have seen that such factual and statistical questions have also been asked once in a while. And this topic in particular is very important because the MSME sector plays a critical role in the Indian economy. The micro, small, and medium enterprises, they play a key role in creating job opportunities and in expanding the manufacturing base of the country and in boosting Indian exports. They also contribute significantly to India's GDP. This question was taken up because we have a related press release from the MSME ministry, and according to the article, the Union Minister for MSME has highlighted the contribution of the sector and has pointed out that there are over 6 crore MSME units in the country which employ more than 11 crore people, and this sector alone contributes more than 30% to India's GDP and to over 49% of India's exports. Now let's look at the fourth question. The term zircon, recently seen in news, refers to DRDO's robotic bomb disposal prototype, Russian hypersonic cruise missile, Israel's single-dose COVID-19 vaccine, Google's satellite-based internet project. The correct answer is option B. Zircon is the name of the hypersonic cruise missile that has been developed and recently tested by Russia. According to this article in The Hindu, Russia has carried out another test of its hypersonic cruise missile, the Zircon, and it indicates the ongoing arms race with regard to development of hypersonic missiles. See, very few countries have the capability to develop and test a hypersonic missile, and these countries include the United States, Russia, China, and even India. While US, Russia, and China have already proven their capabilities, India is still in the beginning stages and has tested a prototype of a scramjet engine which is used to power hypersonic cruise missiles. Hypersonic cruise missiles provide a tremendous advantage as they can travel more than 5 times the speed of sound and they are highly maneuverable even in mid-flight. So it's much harder to track and intercept these missiles, and they are seen as a big leap in strategic weapons by major countries. Now let's look at a practice question from the 2016 prelims paper. Which of the following best describes or describe the aim of Green India mission of the Government of India? Incorporating environmental benefits and costs into the union and state budgets, thereby implementing the green accounting. Launching the second green revolution to enhance agricultural output so as to ensure food security to one and all in the future. Restoring and enhancing forest cover and responding to climate change by a combination of adaptation and mitigation measures. The correct answer is option C, 3 only. The Green India Mission is one of the 8 pillars under India's National Action Plan on Climate Change. Under this mission, India aims to increase its forest cover as a part of its adaptation and mitigation measures against climate change in order to enhance carbon sinks and also to promote the adaptation of sensitive ecosystems and forest-dependent communities. Now, coming to the fact of the day, let's look at this article in The Hindu, which refers to a government initiative to boost mobile connectivity in tribal areas. Following the celebration of the Janjatiya Gaurav Divas or the Tribal Pride Day, the government has increased its focus on bringing development to tribal areas of the country. Under this project, specific focus is being given to the tribal areas which are affected by left-wing extremism or Naxalism. And in order to counter the extremist threat and also to bring development, the government is looking to boost mobile and internet connectivity in these areas. This key project will be implemented in states such as Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Maharashtra, and Odisha, and it will cover around 44 aspirational districts. The funds for this project is likely to be drawn from the Universal Service Obligation Fund, which is used to connect remote and unconnected and underserved areas. This fund which falls under the Department of Telecom, was established under the new telecom policy of 1999, which mandates the mobile service providers of the country to contribute a part of their revenue into the Universal Service Obligation Fund. These funds are then used by the government to establish mobile and internet connectivity in the remote, unserved, and underserved areas, which will not only help in boosting economic activities and development, but will also help in countering left wing extremism, particularly in the tribal belt. So, this concludes our discussion for today. Thanks for watching.